Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we're having a look at tomorrow's racing, and I'm going to go through most of the races at Sandown. I've got a selection in all bar the bumper. Starting off with the Juvenile Handicap Hurdle, a horse that I've highlighted. I actually said I fancied this horse to go alright at Cheltenham in the Boodles if he did make it. I don't think he's going to make the cut, is he? Off his mark of, what has he got? 109. He's right near the bottom of the handicap for the Boodles. I'm just having a look to see what number he is. Yeah, he's definitely not going to get in. He's currently running number 37 of 40, and only 22 will get in. 15 aren't going to drop out. He's not going to get in, so I totally understand why they're taking their chance here at Sandown. Get him a win. And yeah, I really like Cartoon & Co. Why do I like Cartoon & Co? Well, he started off with a pretty impressive win in a National Hunt hurdle over 2.5 mile. 2 mile and half a furlong at Stratford, beating Billy the Real Big Red. Not a particularly good race. They were miles clear of the rest, but demonstrated that at least the horse knows how to win. Last two efforts, although being beaten, I think they've been decent efforts. Second behind Gimme 5, who went on to finish a good second in the Adonis behind Caliph de Burle. And then last time out, I felt, having been beaten by Give Me 5, they instantly went, okay, we're not going for the Triumph, we're going for the Boodles. We're going to try and get him handicapped. And Dan Skelton, I think, is quite good with getting his horses nicely handicapped. You know, there's a few that he's got quite well handicapped coming into the festival. They got beat by Cabral de Matan and Latin Verse. Latin Verse had actually shown some decent form. I was looking at Latin Verse even as a selection for the Boodles itself. After being beaten by Cabral de Matan, Latin Verse actually then went and beat Royal D-Side in a handicap hurdle of a mark of 110, won by 19 lengths. Well, Latin Verse was only 2.25 lengths in front of Cartoon & Co. Cartoon & Co.'s mark of 105 is 109. Sorry, I still think that's too low. I thought the winner, Cabral de Matan, could have ended up in the Adonis himself. I think that was a good effort, and I think the jockey reported that he hung left-handed, and I think they just went, we're not actually going to try and win this. If he runs his effort when second to Gimme 5, you can see on our ratings, I'm leaving the ratings open today for all of these races, that would probably see him go very, very close, and I think he's the one that's going to take all the beating here. Cartoon & Co. And you can currently get Cartoon & Co. at, let's just make sure this page refreshes, 4. So you can currently get him at 4-1. I think he's going to go off a lot shorter than that. I think they'll realise that he's actually quite nicely handicapped. This is a handicap, and some of those towards the head of the market through the ages and Valadon might have been given a too high a rating based on a couple of wins, whereas Cartoon & Co., they looked at his first effort and went, he's been beaten since, so this is his mark, and we're basing him on his last couple of runs rather than probably what he did on his first effort, which might have been just as good. But our ratings certainly suggest last time, 2 runs ago at Market Raisin, that was a very good effort. Going to Sandown, if he does hang right-handed, he'll just be hanging into the rails, hopefully, and that should be fine for him. So yeah, I'm quite happy with Cartoon & Co. I totally understand why they're going to Sandown, as they're not going to get in the Fred Winter or the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle. Moving on to the 150, you can see who I'm going to select here. So we've all got to keep an eye out for Harry Cobden rides. Harry will be giving, Paul Nicholls will be getting as many horses as he can to races that Harry can win, with Harry vying for the title with Sean Bowen. And I think this is one of those that they've gone, we think we can win this as well. You know, he's right off the top weight off 127, and they've put him in here after some decent efforts over this sort of trip. I think that's important with this horse. 3 runs ago, he finished second behind Gidley Park. Now, Gidley Park is some people's fancy for the Albert Bartlett at the Cheltenham Festival. Yes, Firefly was well beaten that day, but the fact that Firefly is running a handicap, not a graded race, I think is very interesting. And last time out, when Firefly beat Secret Squirrel, I think that was good form. Secret Squirrel had previously finished second to Jericho de Repenay. Well, if we like Jericho de Repenay, I don't as much, but I think he's he'll run a decent race in the Supreme Novice. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he'll finish third or fourth, sort of thing. That effort from Secret Squirrel was very good, and Firefly beat him. So yeah, I think Firefly is a graded horse running in a handicap, and he's going to end up in better races than this. Harry Cobden's going to be certainly trying, giving it his all. And yeah, I think he's the right horse to be on in this race, and we can currently get a decent price because of the JP horse being well supported. 11-2. Don't think the ground will be an issue. His second behind Gidley Park was a decent effort. That came on soft. His second behind Brecon Castle in a bumper that I think that was where Brecon Castle actually set the fastest furlong. I'm just going to double check because Brecon Castle must have done it. No, I believe that was the fastest final furlong at Cheltenham was by Brecon Castle to beat Firefly. So Firefly clearly has a bit of pace about him as well. So yeah, Firefly is my selection in the second race at Sandown. We move on to the 225, which is the feature race of the day, the Imperial Cup. Now, I believe this doesn't carry a bonus anymore. If you win this and then win at the Cheltenham Festival, you don't pick up a bonus. And that I totally understand why Under Control for Nick Henderson was therefore trying to win the more battle hurdle and not this, because there was no point winning this and Cheltenham. There is no bonus in play. However, some of these horses might be trying to get their mark up slightly to carry a penalty to get in races at the Cheltenham Festival. One of those being Bad. I think he does need to get a penalty to get in at Cheltenham. Just having a look where he is in the county hurdle, which I think would be the most likely race he would turn up in. He's currently number... Let's just have a look. He's quite a way down. He's currently rated 126. And that is... bear with me. 126. He's a long, long way down. Currently, number... bear with me, sorry guys. And girls, if girls listen to this, I think they might do. Number 64. Only 26 run. He would definitely need a penalty to get anywhere near high enough rated to get in this race. Yeah. I don't think he'll get in regardless, but at least they could win a feature race themselves. And interestingly, I did actually suggest this as a potential plan. I said he's still £4 lower than when gambled for the Boodles. That was off a mark of 122. Now, he is back up to 126 after finishing second recently at Ascot, so he is off the same mark as when he was gambled for the Boodles last year. So, and I suggested the Imperial Cup County Hurdle would be the suggested plan. So he is doing this Imperial Cup County Hurdle, and he's £4 higher, and I still don't think he'll get in. So my suggestion of going the Imperial Cup County Hurdle would have been, in my opinion, the right race, but it still wouldn't have been enough because he wasn't going to he wouldn't get in. I highlighted him after he finished second behind Hansard at Newbury for this race. I've got to go for him. He's had wind surgery 2 runs ago. I thought he ran a great race last time out when second at Ascot. They were well clear of Arkoob, who will win a race when he's given the chance to. Yeah, I think the cheek pieces really helped. He was in the lead all until the final stride. The drop back and trip won't be an issue. The heavy ground shouldn't be an issue, or the soft heavy going. He finished, he won a conditions hurdle back in France in November of 2022 on heavy going. He's also finished second on soft. He finished third behind Knickerbocker Glory and Alta Belly on soft. So I don't think the ground is an issue. And yeah, I think he's the right favourite. Is he still favourite, or is there a bit of a gamble? He is still favourite. Let's just refresh this page. Yeah, he is still favourite, and you can currently get 11-2 about him. I think he will run a really big race in this race. The second horse that I'm going to pick in this race is actually on the drift, and I've got no issues with that. It's Knickerbocker Glory, who is another one. I suggested for this race. He dropped £2 to 135 after finishing 6th in the Betfair Hurdle. And I suggested that surely he goes to the Imperial Cup again, because he ran in this race last year on heavy going. He finished second, beaten 3 3/4 lengths by Isio, who proved he was quite well handicapped that day by winning a couple of races since. Knickerbocker Glory ran off a mark of 129 with Bridget Andrews on board. Tristan takes £3 off his 135 mark, so he's effectively just £3 higher than when finishing second in this race. We know he likes the course, therefore. He, as I said, finished second on heavy. He's also won on heavy. He won earlier this season, beating Outer Belly, as I said. Sorry, finished second on soft, beating Outer Belly. Last couple of runs have been in Greatwood Hurdles and Betfair Hurdles. They clearly like the horse. They think he's better than that. Dan sent a few to the Greatwood Hurdle and a few to the Betfair Hurdle. I think they've all got big chances. Favour comes here. Instead of going for the competitive and tricky county hurdle, I imagine they might end up in the county as well. But why are they trying to win this race? Maybe they've got the winner of the county hurdle already with Lodesud, or one that they certainly think is going to go very close. So that's positive for our Lodesud in the county hurdle, I think. But yeah, I'm taking Dan Skelton. I'm taking Harry to have got this wrong with Knickerbocker Glory, and he's the one I like as the slightly bigger price at 11 to 1. Again, William Hill at the outliers, so we don't quote those prices. So he's available at 11s. I think he'll run a really big race. The softer the ground, the better. The two I am worried about are being well supported. There's Sans Bruit, who I think his handicap mark could be very lenient. They might have got him perfectly handicapped for this. He's had just the one run for Paul Nicholls when he was well beaten 7th in a race that you just had to be prominent. Sans Bruit wasn't particularly... he was very keen throughout the race. He only went off 5 to 1 that day. They clearly thought there was a lot of potential in the horse. That came off a mark of 134. He dropped £2 to 132. He is a danger. I'm just hoping that we have got it right, that maybe there's a couple of better handicapped horses. Favour being the other obvious danger, with Harry choosing that one over Knickerbocker Glory. I'm just hoping they've gone, let's put Tristan on Knickerbocker Glory to drop £3 and take £3 off, which then we think he has a great chance, rather than Harry riding and going, we think we have a good chance, but not as good if he doesn't get to take the £3 off. So my two, as I said, are bad at 11 to 2 and Knickerbocker Glory at 11s. We move on to the 335, so I skip the bumper. I'm not interested in the bumper. The next horse I want to talk about for the novices handicap chase is Golden Sun. So I highlighted Golden Sun when he dropped £1 to 139 and said that was a nonsense drop, in the fact that the handicap had just dropped him £1 for being well beaten by in a race that Pembroke won. He didn't know what he was doing. It was like, what's the point? I'll just drop him £1. It was a nonsense drop. You either drop him £4 or £5 or you don't drop him at all. He then actually got beat again next time out, and he pulled up again at Newbury, and then the handicapper did drop him properly. He dropped him £4 to 135. He came out and went to Kempton a few weeks ago and won, beating Heltenham. Heltenham's obviously come out and franked that form by winning at, Newbury last week, beating Can Do Kid. So Paul should have a good idea of whether Golden Sun is better. And for me, I think the fact they ran Golden Sun in a novice chase, they thought he had a chance against Iroko. They beat Kilbeg King that day. That was the Golden Sun. He then had a couple of off days at Aintree and Newbury. Clearly something wasn't quite right. They put cheek pieces on and it turned him around. It got him back to what they thought they had. They leave the cheek pieces on again, and I think this race, they would have been wanting to have been in a better race at this point of the season, but they end up here, and I think they will take all the beating here. I think this is a race that they're like, well, we might as well win this then, as the races that we wanted to win aren't available. So yeah, I really like Golden Sun, to be honest. At Sandown, I think he will take all the beating. Ground won't be an issue, I don't think. He does have some form back in France on soft and heavy going. And yeah, all of his runs this season, he's really been targeted at these soft and heavy going conditions. We move on to the 410. The horse I'm going to select here is a decent price, I think. Let me just have a look to see what price he currently is. Hoping that the bookies aren't shortening him too much. They're not just yet. It's Easy As That, who is available at 9-1. Now, I like this horse. So obviously, Vena Williams, I think her horses are going all right at the moment. And I highlighted this horse after he ran, when he stepped up in trip to 3 mile 2. He went 3 mile 2 at Cheltenham on the new course in a handicap. He got really well back that day. He went off 7-2 from about 12s, I think it was. He went off 7-2 against the likes of Broadway Boy, 3 Under 3-5, Protectorat, City Chief. Horses that that are probably better than what he's taking on tomorrow. I don't think these rivals, Trincomalee, Bangers and Cash, Switch Hitter, etc., are anywhere near as good as what he was taking on at Cheltenham over 3 mile 2. And yet he got really well supported that day. They dropped him back in trip for a very competitive Paddy Power handicap in January. And that didn't work. The drop back in trip didn't work, and he didn't really run his race. And the vet reported that he bled from the nose. So hopefully we can forgive him that run, and we can kind of say, well, 3 mile at Sandown, maybe that's what will be maybe that will be more about right. It's not 3 mile 2. It's not at Cheltenham, really stiff finish. Whilst it's at Sandown, which does have an uphill, it's only over 3 miles. So maybe this is like the optimum trip for him. And considering we liked him when he dropped a couple of pounds to 139, the fact he's now running off, what's he running off now? 133. He could be ridiculously well handicapped now. What did they drop him for last time? They dropped him from a mark of 137 down to 133. But he's come down from 142 at the beginning of the end of last season down to 133. He's got to have a big chance here. And as I said, I really like that price of 9-1. Finally, we move on to the 440 at Sandown. And I am going for the obvious one here. It's quite boring. This just looks an easier race than what he's been running in. Es Perfecto, he's top rated. He is the favourite. He's currently available at 7-4. I think he'll take all of the beating, won't he? Second to Ginny's Destiny. Well, Ginny's Destiny is one of the fancied horses for the Turners. Third then to Blow Your Wad and Outlaw Peter. Blow Your Wad has since come out and won again. Has since come out and beaten Tamuras at Kempton in a Grade 2. The fourth horse that day was Cot Mask, isn't it? He's come out and won the last twice. Es Perfecto, he just bumped into horses. Last time out, he went to Cheltenham, got beat by Ginny's Destiny and Theatre Man. Well, Ginny's Destiny is, as I said, fancied for the Turners. Theatre Man is favourite now, or joint favourite for the plate. Harry Cobden has been booked to ride that. He might have said, the fact that you got so close to Ginny's Destiny surely suggests that Theatre Man is very well handicapped. Es Perfecto is not taking on those types of rivals in this race, and I fully expect him to take all of the beating here at 7-4. So they're my selections. A quick recap. Cartoon & Co, I think he's well handicapped. I think they've aimed at a handicap and they didn't get in the Boodles. I think he'll run a really big race at 4s. Firefly, he's got some decent form. His form beating Secret Squirrel, I think, is rock solid. 225, I like Bad Knickerbocker Glory. Knickerbocker Glory back here for the race that he ran so well in last year. You can see on his day he can run really big figures. And Bad, dropping back in trip, I think will suit him in that he can be race forward and shouldn't find anything passing him hopefully late on. The 335, Golden Sun, now that he's got his mojo back, I think he's running here, which will disappoint them in the fact that they would have been looking at better races for him. Easy As That, this 3 mile trip, I think we might see him well supported again tomorrow. It's not too far, and this is an easier race than what he had been running in. Similarly, Es Perfecto, this is a much easier race, in my opinion, than what he has been running in, and should take all the beating. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with some Cheltenham analysis for everybody on Monday.